Last week on Sailing Zephyr, we made our final preparations for our biggest challenge to date, crossing the Atlantic. However, we did manage to squeeze in some sightseeing and get a haircut in before we set off, provisioning for 4 crew members crossing the Atlantic.
Without my love for the ocean, I would be long gone by now. It's some kind of devotion that brings me down.
This week on Sailing Zephyr, our last crew member to join us arrives, and boy are we happy to see Anthony.
I would say this
I bet
is
so much traveling.
8 years later.
Anthony gets a brief tour of the boat, and before he can even get settled in, we are pulling up anchor and setting sail across the Atlantic.
I wake up from the sunshine on my face, so dehydrated, don't know what to say. Who's sleeping by my side? What did I do last night? Can someone make this headache go away? Yesterday was supposed to be quiet, being to myself and sit in silence until I got a...
The first few days all turned into a blur, with 3-meter swells coming from every direction for 48 hours. It was only a matter of time until we were all feeling sick. We did get some pretty good speed, however, and managed to get quite a few miles behind us.
How you feeling, Marky? 0 to 10, how do you feel?
5.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm good now.
Yeah. Cooking us hot meals today?
Yeah, all right now, thank goodness.
That was the first bit of filming we've done. What was that?
Because we've all been seasick. All of us. Gusts of 25 knots.
Yeah.
That was a rough way to start.
Tough 48 hours, isn't it?
Yeah. But we're all going for a swim now.
A couple miles down and about 1,700 to go, give or take. So.
Day
4. Day 4. Brilliant conditions. We've got calm seas, like half a meter. Winds are 10 to 15. We're sailing at 6 to 7 knots. The boat's super balanced. The autopilot's hardly doing anything. Marcus is finally feeling better, so that's always good.
Okay.
And yeah, this is perfect sailing conditions. Couldn't be happier. Just gotta catch a bloody fish.
Now, you got the line out.
Got the line out. I got my super lure made by the young lad from the Sailing to Rome. So he promised to be a tuna.
Hey Zephyr fans, taking the opportunity to introduce myself aboard the Sailing Zephyr. I'm Anthony from Sydney, Australia. James and Nat invited me along to be helping crew across the Atlantic here. I first met James and Natalie 8 years ago, was it? 8 or 9 years ago. I actually taught them how to dive. I'm a dive instructor, and took them on their first dives and worked with them in a fun old company called Reef Safari.
The camera just went sorry. Go.
Yeah, I think you didn't have to hold that.
And yeah, and actually lived with them for a while up in Airlie Beach, with Sundays. So when they put a post on Facebook saying they needed help to crew across the Atlantic, I jumped at the opportunity. It's something I've always wanted to do. It's been my bucket list to either buy a yacht or at least do a big sailing trip or something. But I can't see the opportunity coming up for myself anytime soon. So this is just perfect for me, just to help them for a month or so for this trip.
Once we get over the seasickness, everybody starts to settle into their watches.
see a giant fin out of the back.
Any more quiche, anyone?
Blue, the electric. Yeah. Amazing. Mumble.
Better than Mom!
No.
Oh my god!
Well, it's day 5 and we have no wind. Well, that's not entirely true. We've got 5 knots. We're prepared for this because we saw the massive high, and I've had to run the engine. So we weren't prepared, but we are running the engine, which kind of sucks, but yeah. So we're motoring now. We're about 350 nautical miles into the trip, and we've got a high pressure system that we've got to try and get through. It's probably 2 days of motoring to get through it, depending on what happens with the weather, so we'll see, but it is official, we are motor sailing now, so see how we go.
Before the crossing, I had set up a logbook to record any plastic or rubbish that we came across. I am happy to say that everybody added to the list any rubbish they saw on their ships. James even wanted certain things like this wakeboard. Hopefully it's not around our prop. No, that's our fishing line.
Oh, it is too.
Yeah. James was trying to get the wakeboard, but he motored around and around. Possibly our fishing line is caught around our keel. So the boys are trying to work that out, see what's going on. Crisis averted, it was only wrapped round the keel, Anthony called it. Hey Anthony. The motoring does not last long as we soon get a steady 15 knots of wind. Hooray! Sails go back out and we start cruising once again.
What day is it today?
It's my birthday!
Oh yeah.
We're not going to say how old I am.
No.
We'll keep that secret. But you guys did heaps for me. You haven't even shown them what you did at the bottom there.
What's that?
Yeah.
Balloons and...
Yeah. Let's go and see. Ready? This is what I woke up to this morning. A nice banner.
In French?
In French. But still, super nice. And then my little presents from you guys. My favourite. And this cake for tonight.
We're gonna cook it for you. We're not giving you a box.
And then I got balloons, which are really bad for the ocean, so I was a bit upset at James for buying them. But well done. It's beautiful. First birthday crossing an ocean. Pretty cool.
Yeah, so what did you have for breakfast?
Oh yeah, I had pancakes as well. They cooked me pancakes. I've been spoilt today.
Back to work after this.
And it's a beautiful day though for it, so excellent. And we got mutton birds all around.
Yeah. We are currently motoring still. It's been about 5 hours of motoring. We've finally seen another sailboat for the first time. There's been lots of tankers, but we haven't seen any sailboats at all. So this is the first one we've seen. But it's a 148-foot sailboat, so it's massive. So, but yeah, so we're just cruising. It's still absolutely beautiful day. You wouldn't even think you're on the Atlantic right now. So it's just like a lake out here. And yeah, Nat's making some egg fried rice. That's what she wants for her birthday. Marky's helping her out. So, yeah, we'll continue to motor sail for a while. I'm not sure when the wind's meant to pick up, so we'll see.
We are making egg fried rice. Marky's helping me.
Yeah, look at these cutting skills.
It's a bit scary. It looks like he's gonna chop a finger off. No, don't even joke.
I'm gonna eat this.
And Anthony's just jinxed it because he was saying,
Yeah.
what would happen if you cut your finger off here or caught it in a rope?
It'd be a very uncomfortable trip all the way to the Azores. Yeah.
And we can't even save the finger because we don't have a freezer.
No, we don't.
So you wouldn't even be able to sew it back on.
That was chill.
You could have a go.
Nothing, I'll just have the rice.
It's Nat's birthday fudge cake. Smash that. So a lot of the questions we've been getting about is how are we going to check weather and while we're out on the Atlantic. So one of the devices we got, which is fantastic, and we've seen a lot of other cruisers use this as well, it's called an Iridium Go. It's essentially a device that turns like your smartphone or your tablet or your computer into a satellite device. So you can communicate via email, text messaging. You could even actually go onto certain websites. And what we do with this is we use the Iridium Go in conjunction with Predict Wind. So I'm able to download weather anytime using on my phone or download it to my laptop. And we are able to do that as many times a day we want with the package that we have, which is great because the weather out here is changing so much. But these are great, these things. I haven't used any other satellite devices, but this is the one that came recommended to me. It's not a plug for Iridium, but it's super versatile and really robust, and I think quite affordable. So I think these are about, in Australia, they're about $1,100 or $1,200. I'm sure they're cheaper elsewhere, but I think it's a great investment. You can check weather, we can make phone calls if we have to, and send text messages. So like we did today for Nat's birthday, we received text messages for her birthday, so that was quite exciting for Nat. But yeah, so that's how we communicate and get our weather while we're in the middle of the Atlantic in Iridium Go. 500! Woo!
And our last fresh meal, which is all gone.
Yeah.
A salad. And we got fruit for dessert. Yummy. And that's it from now on.
We're watching Captain Phillips.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. 500 miles, a pirate story, and a fresh meal.
After quite a bit of motoring on my birthday, we finally get a break and some steady winds come our way.
When your life's been put on hold for far too long, when the sorrow and despair is growing strong, there is always something good to be obtained from breaking loose and leave the things that kept you chained. So when you search within.
As our last few days of our first week out on the Atlantic come to an end, Anthony saves this little guy who chased after our lure and unfortunately got his beak caught.
Saved him! Well done, Anthony! Woo!
Silly, silly bird.
I know, poor thing. Is his beak okay?
It's actually fine.
There he goes, released.
We released him unharmed, and the shearwater, or more commonly known as the mutton bird, followed us for most of our journey.
Pride and stand up straight. So there is
Join us next week as we continue on our journey across the Atlantic. We are lucky enough to swim with mutton birds, lots of them. Anthony gets busy untying our fishing line caught on the prop.
We have literally been stuck in a high pressure bubble with no wind for about 4 days. It's just absolutely thrown us for a loop. We've been chasing wind.
And by far the best of all, we are privileged enough to get these guys come and visit and spend some time with us.
one step at a time with your head held high. So when